Hi, I am Shallalla. I'm a creativity coach who helps artists to finally crush blocks, create healthy finances, and to feel accomplished. If you need help with any of these things, I offer free instant inspiration calls right now, and there's a link in the description that takes you to my calendar. So just click on that and jump on a call with me. So today, Joe and I are here to do the Walking in This World Week 8 check-in, discovering a sense of discernment. Joe, how was week 8 for you?
Week 8 was good, and it had me reflecting a lot about my judgment and how judgment can change, and the way we look at the world can change, and how our decision making and everything like that is different at different times of our lives.
How did the essay steer you there?
I guess I was thinking about lots of different things. So it's hard to, I guess, about the piggybackers and about how different people can be in your life for different reasons, and how we can be at different points that we weren't expecting to be. I've been speaking to a friend yesterday, and she's from America, and she came over to visit a university. So we're having a long conversation about decisions surrounding university, and how different people in our lives can have different intentions, and how there's a piggybackers that when you achieve something, just she got into a really prestigious university,
Mhm.
and suddenly all these people have come back into her life and said, oh, well done, we're so proud of you, let's be friends. And we're both on the Born This Way Foundation advisory board, and we're talking about how that when we posted about that, everyone came and said hello again, and how it, sometimes we know people don't have clear intentions, but we like to blindfold ourselves because it feels nice just to have the praise.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. So you jumped right into the creative saboteurs, which is a topic that I find so interesting. And in an ideal world, I would actually, I wanted to like illustrate them. But I wasn't able, like as I said, in an ideal world, I would have all the illustrations right here. But my favorite quote from this week is definitely, as artists, we are often, far more often, more insecure than grandiose. We are stubborn as crabgrass, yes, but we are just as easily stepped on. Yes, we spring back, but sometimes only after years of discouragement. As we move our art into public venues, what we need is to find a few friends who encourage us by mirroring our competency, that and the inner resolve to post a few signs that say, keep off the grass. This way. So,
I love that you've got that there.
as I said, in an ideal world, there would be like the you just meant the piggybackers, and she talks about the wet blanket matador and the bad news fairy. And so maybe next time I manage to come up with some illustrations for that.
Brilliant. I can't wait.
Yeah. So I think this is such an important topic, and it's interesting that you say that regarding your friend, and that people came to her and were like, "Oh, we were best friends, weren't we? So
Yeah.
you can help me out." Like in every check-in, there's the fourth question, which asks, were there any other issues this week that felt significant to you in your self-discovery? And usually I leave that blank, and it's just like, so check in is like, yes, I did my morning pages. Yes, I
Yeah.
did my artist dates. Yes, I did my weekly walk. Bye. But
Yeah.
this week, I actually um, got into touch again with an ex from like over 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were both in the like 2021.
Yeah.
And and it was the most heartbreaking thing that literally it was the most heartbreak I'd ever experienced, and I hope that I will never ever experience that again. And we lost contact, like we burned the bridges,
Yeah.
to be honest. And we got in contact. We were writing emails, and then we got on the phone, and it was It was really interesting because at that time I was so heartbroken that I threw myself into my art. And by that, I mean, I always knew that I was a writer. And at that time, I was also still singing, but I didn't have a band or anything. And so I actually look back at that time and I don't feel very creative. But my ex actually said, and the leap in my creativity actually came after that breakup, because I went like full speed into all these different kinds of media. I started filmmaking, I started script writing, and so on and so forth. And my ex told me that because of me, they actually um, like learned that it is possible to live your life as an artist, and they became an actor. And that is a person who wasn't able to get in front of a class and do like a report or anything. And here's what happened to me. It made me so angry. It made me so angry. It was just like, how dare you take inspiration from me, and how dare you like use me to turn your life around, because all you left me with was this incredibly broken heart. And so you know how we like, I think everybody does that when we
Yeah.
were like angry and we start to write really bad poetry.
Yeah.
So I stopped that. I stopped that, and now I'm actually making like images, like it's almost like a post, but I would never ever post it. And so I made a really angry post that had a sun on it, and it said, "I refuse to shine for you."
Wait, is this back then or now?
Now, this
Oh,
is me
okay.
all grown up. I refuse to shine for you. And it really pissed me off. Like, I don't know if you can understand why I am so angry about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've experienced that, but I got to the place, not without too much difficulty, that it's good to inspire each other, and at least you can take something positive out of it. And I hope you've got there, or you get to that. And I'm sure
So,
you will, because you're mature enough to understand. Like, I don't
so
know.
I made this image like with the sun and the "I refuse to shine for you," and then I actually started thinking about this, and I was like, okay, if the sun, it's like it's so beautiful because it doesn't discriminate, right?
Yeah,
And so I was just like, well, I mean, in that image, I am the sun and I will shine anyway. So it doesn't really matter whether somebody I have a grudge against actually like bathes in my sunshine to stay in
yeah.
that image. But it was really interesting because it took me about 3 days to get from the "ooh, we're in contact again, I don't know what to do now," then the "what do you mean, like it was me who changed your life forever?" And and then to go to that, well, I'm gonna shine anyway, so if you like catch a few beams of that light, I can't really it doesn't really matter. So it took me about 3 days, but that was like, it was really interesting.
Yeah, and that is a really interesting experience. And I think I've experienced that, but I've also experienced the other side where I've actually been very inspired by an ex, and that's caused a lot of change in my life. So when you were saying that, I was thinking, but then we got back in touch, not as many years as your gap in between,
Mm.
but after like 2 years. And it was interesting to see how they responded to that. And I think, yeah, they were not grudgy or angry, but like it felt a bit strange when when you don't know someone's being inspired by you or motivated by things, and you're not having that contact. It almost feels not like not exactly like you're being violated, but like they're stealing something from you.
Yeah.
Like that, why didn't I have that experience? But I think what happens is the experiences we have are different, and that you've probably learned something from that, even if it took 20 or so years or however long it was.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like it was really like weird. It wasn't déjà vu, but it was something that felt like equally unsettling because they
Yeah.
told me, yeah, I actually looked at your YouTube channel and I saw that you were like into The Artist's Way. I read that book twice and I do morning pages every day, and I was like, what? So it's like it's completely weird. Yeah, but here's to being an inspiration to people, even if
Yeah.
they leave you brokenhearted.
Even if they watch your video and find out about the sun thing.
Yes, yeah, I don't really mind. I don't mind. I think, like, if you look at that breakup, it doesn't get more brutal
Yeah.
than that. So I don't mind. Yep. Anyway, so what else was there?
Artist dates.
Artist dates, yes, 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 yes. I actually took basically a whole day and went to the city where I actually would like to live. Um, and I just wandered around, and I'm just wondering. No, I have not told you about this. It was
I think you told me you're going to visit a city one day, but
yes. So I did that as my artist date,
yeah.
and it was really beautiful because I just know like the town center or city center, and so I wandered around a part of it where I think that would be nice to live, and so I was on my feet for like 6 hours or something like that, and then I just fell into a Chinese restaurant, and it was so beautiful. It was so cliche. Like they had everything. They had the dragons, and they had like the plastic weird plastic covers, and it was so stereotype and so cliche that I found it utterly inspiring, and I was just there writing the whole time.
Wow.
And the when I got the fortune cookie,
Yeah.
I actually got, I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Yeah, you can. So it's total energy and great perspectives. And I actually love the German
Yeah.
translation where they use power. Power total und tolle Aussichten. And I was just like, yes, that is exactly what I need right now. And I got so excited that the waitress came to me, and I was like, I just got the perfect fortune cookie. And I read it to her, and she was like, oh, you have to keep that. And I was, yes, absolutely. And I think she has never seen somebody getting so excited about a
No,
fortune
she
cookie.
probably thought, no, nobody believes them.
Well, from here on now, I do.
and I think it's nice that when we find things like that, they're just signs to point us in a certain direction, or they affirm what we, where we're heading, or we connect with them. And I
Yeah.
think even if it's like a positive message of hope, you can still connect with that and just hope that that's where you're heading.
Yes. I actually now I would be curious to find out whether there are negative fortune cookies.
I I think there might have been historically, but I don't think they give them out at restaurants.
Yeah, so that was my artist date. That was really beautiful. And other than that, I think it's 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks that we checked in the last time. I really got into the tasks. I really like the slow down and feel strong, because I think it is like my biggest weakness when I think I have to do everything now. And then I get like really like the quality goes down and everything. So to really say, okay, I'm gonna do something slow, just
Yeah.
really slow down, is actually something that is very healing to me. So how are you? I mean, last time we spoke, you were like on the verge of getting better,
Yeah.
and then
Very
you
much
were,
on the verge.
yes. So how are you right now?
I think I've been lucky in the sense that I've been like removed from a lot of things physically. So I had a trip to Venice. I've come back for a week, And because there was no classes at uni, I've been working in the office, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy the social aspect, and I enjoy the creative aspect because I'm working in marketing. So I'm working with photos, videos, posters, graphics, words. And so I find it such a creative experience where sometimes you don't have the energy. I mean, I didn't have the energy to be inspired myself.
Mm.
So being given sort of a brief or something to work on, and then being told, okay, be creative in response to that. So say, okay, make something to sell these t-shirts. I thought, how can I do that differently? Or whether it's a photo shoot for a drink, what can I do with that drink? And I thought, well, I can have a photo that's a product photo of the drink with a plain background, or I could get the manager to hold it, and I did a series of snapshots and put them together as like an animation. And
Nice.
see, I just found having that kind of structured creativity healing. And then now I've traveled again. Yesterday I was in London, and now we're in the Peak District for like 7 days.
Mhm.
So it's very much going to be walking this world, because there's a lot of walking to be done now. So I think the physical distance has helped me get away from the pressure of things, but also an opportunity to then be selective more so. And I think if we look at the definition of discernment, I've been able to do that. And because I think we've spoken about it before, that I find it difficult to say no to things.
Yes.
But being on holiday is the perfect excuse sometimes.
Mhm. So, what was your artist date? I mean, it
I
was
think
probably
I've
the
had
whole.
several. Yeah, but I think one of them, when we were in Venice, they had these beautiful masks, and they were hand painted, made of paper mache. And I'd seen them, and they've got the touristy type shops and market stalls which sell you the plastic ones that are mass produced, not in Venice. But then they've got the really handcrafted, fancy, colourful. And I thought, well, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to get a mask. And so I went through trying different masks on, having a look at them, and speaking to the people in the shop who, it was a shop with all Venetian fashions. They had the big carnival costumes. And I thought,
Mhm.
well, I might never get the chance to wear it, but it will look great on my wall on a shelf somewhere. And I just thought it's such a great expression to pick a mask that reminds you of yourself, because when you're looking at it, it's a mask to hide. But I think when it comes to those masks, they're sometimes more expressive than your face could be. Oh, I like
I,
that.
yes, yes. It's so interesting because I think that the being in that shop alone is an artist date, like
Yeah.
browsing the costumes and all these things. Isn't there a philosophy behind the masks? Like, I'm sure there is, but
Yeah, I think there is. I can't remember it, but I knew that it came from the tradition of when they have festivals, and it's so that no one knows who each other are for the night, because it's such a small area, and then
Mhm.
you can then be free. But I think because they're such grand pieces, it's also a way historically that people have shown off their wealth or shown who they are. And they had some, I mean, that shop alone, we went in there in the evening, and I think I preferred Venice in the evening because we were trying to tick off as many museums and galleries and churches during the day, and that was a lot of walking around, which was fun. But in the
Mhm.
evenings it was unstructured, so we could just have as much time as we wanted. So we went into this mask shop, and we were in there for about half an hour, and I was just looking at the masks. And it got to the point where the lady had come over to me and said, she's like saying, do you want to try them on? And I wasn't thinking of buying,
Mhm.
because I thought, well, these are they're going to be expensive, which is fine. And I eventually bought one, but I think it took about 4 or 5 visits over the period of 3 days to make my mind up.
Mhm.
But I was just looking, and they were also intricate and trying to take in the different designs, and you really look at something and you got to try and work out how someone made that. And I
Mhm.
suppose as artists, you know, sometimes because we involved with our own process, we can't really separate the finished product from the process. But when you look at someone else's art, you think, wow, what was their process like? And there were shops in there where people were actually making them in the process, which is nice to see, because you got a feeling that a lot of the shops had things in that weren't made traditionally, but you could, if you look close enough, and believe me, I spent enough time looking at them that I knew they were. And it was quite an experience in general, because I was having like good conversations with the lady at the shop, and she gave me quite a big discount. So it
Nice.
was it was fun, and it became a thing that there was actually another branch of the same shop that she was working in. I was looking at all the ones in different shops, and I went and spoke to her. So I saw this person and went in these mask shops, as I said, 4 or 5 times, and it added to the experience, just because it seems so bizarre to keep coming back to the shops and spending so much time, but they were just astonishing, really.
Mhm.
So I've got one that, oh, I wonder if I can find a photo. And do you think I'll be able to share my screen if I can find a photo?
Yeah, absolutely. I can give you permission to do that.
Brilliant.
There you go.
See if I,
Yeah, and I can't wait to see the
yeah,
mask that is probably now on your wall.
it's on my shelf.
Mm,
But
beautiful.
here we are. Right, share screen.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is gorgeous.
but I loved all of the different sections, all of the different colors, and I like how it's got the recreation of the kiss there.
Yes.
But it's, yeah, hand painted
Yeah.
and paper mache. So if you look at it, you look at the back, you can see where the paint's bled around the back of it, and it's got, it's hand sculpted, which just makes you wonder how. And there's me trying it on.
Oh, I love this.
That it's then an object that carries lots of memories.
Hmm.
And I think when you buy a souvenir, it should do that. And I think spending so long in the shop and having so many trips to the shop, it's such a, yeah,
And all of this, like all the trips to the shop and knowing so much about how the mask was made,
yeah.
um, what do you take away for your own art?
I think it made me think about the appreciation behind it, because when you're looking at souvenir shops on holiday, you're looking to see, okay, what can I buy to bring back? How much does it cost? What am I going to do with it? But then that thought process and conversation changed very quickly when I was looking at how they were made and the traditional methods and the history.
Mhm.
And when we make our own art, we often look at it from the perspective of the meaning behind it, but then it can be quite damaging to ourselves when it goes out into the world and people don't look at it like that. They look at it as a product. And so it made me think about that, and how that every product has a lot of thought behind it, and how to keep in mind that people will look at it from both perspectives while you're making the art.
Mhm. I like that. So an appreciation for the process and not
Yeah,
just the product. I was just thinking, I do believe that this is something that changed like in our time, like
yeah,
because it used to be like the process was a secret, right? Like
yeah,
you like I don't know, Da Vinci or Van Gogh or whoever, they did not have Instagram. They did
yeah,
not have like watch me paint live right
yeah.
now. And so, oh, can you imagine? Like Van Gogh just started a live video.
Yeah, you could go to his art seminars.
That would be absolutely amazing. And so it was just this, here's the product, deal with it. And now we have the opportunity to like to be really involved in everything. And I agree with you. I think it leads to being more appreciative
Yeah.
of the product.
Yeah, and I think it also tells us as artists that we don't have to be guarded to be successful. That
Yes.
by showing people how it's done, it doesn't, if they can do it, I mean, we're all completely different, so we do it in our own ways for different intentions. So even if a great artist shows a new artist how to do it, you can both be great artists. It doesn't mean to say they're going to be a great artist and you're not going to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room. And think about how many mask shops there were in Venice. They're all still open.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's it's too much. There were
Yeah.
there were too many thoughts running around, and then it was just like, no, don't go there. Okay. But there was one more thing that one more quote. I mean, to that what you just said is there's a quote by Brenda Uland, I think. Since you are like no other being ever created since the beginning of time, you are incomparable. So, I mean, it is that if you stay true to yourself, you're gonna be original. You actually can't help it.
Yeah.
But there was one more quote where it actually gave me shivers. The sense of the thing that makes you exceptional, if you are at all, is inevitably that which must also make you lonely.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I love this so much. I mean, this is the third time that I'm doing this, and it's actually like it has all three colors. So every every time I go through it, I actually marked it,
Yeah.
and I think it is very, very true.
Yeah.
So now we actually have the dichotomy of there are hundreds of mask shops in Venice, and at the same time, there is something that makes each and everyone who makes an exceptional mask lonely. So
Yeah.
there is this this interaction between being lonely and being off the world.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to the idea of being guarded. And as you spoke about your ex being inspired by you, I mean, I think that as artists and with other artists and everything in the world, everything's in constant dialogue, a constant interaction. And if you're aware of that, you can never truly be lonely. But I think we always fall into the trap of being trapped by what makes us exceptional. And then we shut out everything and forget that everything's in constant interaction.
Mm.
And whereas, if we're inspired by an artist, we might not tell them because we don't know how they react. And say if we're using the mask shop metaphor a bit too much here, but if one mask shop designer went to another mask shop designer and said, "Oh, I was really inspired by your design," well, that could be, "Oh, are you stealing from me? You taking my art?" But really, everything is in constant dialogue. And
Mhm.
I've been visiting sort of old buildings, and I sometimes take photos of the wallpaper or the design on the ceiling and think, well, if I need to make some artwork for something, I could get inspired by that pattern.
Mhm.
But it's not stealing, it's just taking inspiration from what's around you.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a difference between stealing and copying and
Yeah.
getting inspired by. And I think, like, I mean, that is the conclusion that I came to with it is okay if I inspire somebody, even if I don't like them particularly.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's I actually I don't want to limit myself in a way where I'm like, no, I have to guard.
Yeah.
I have to guard who I actually inspire and who not. And yeah, it was
I
an
Yeah. And I think that's really flattering to inspire someone in that way. And I think you should be proud of yourself, even though it makes you slightly uncomfortable.
I haven't seen them act, so maybe I wait.
Okay, fair point.
Sorry. No, I'm sure it's brilliant. So yeah, it's. I mean, even if I was, I mean, I was not a very good person back then. So to be completely honest, none of us was. None of us were. And to be able to, even at that moment where I was really, I mean, looking back at the CPTSD, it was like such a big wall of fog between me and the world, that it is actually a miracle that I was able to inspire somebody. So I'll just take that.
Yeah. And I think what that says is, even like when we don't feel like we're able to inspire someone, that we still can. And I think that's an important lesson.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be able to explain it, but I think we understand it.
I think I do. Yes. Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to add to this weeks of discovering a sense of discernment?
I can't think of anything else, but I think that it's been a good week. And I think in terms of discernment, going back to the masks, I think how we judge things, and I think discernment, the ability to judge things well. I was first, when they said, I don't know, 150 euros, I was judging it based on price, but then I went back and judged it on craftsmanship. And so when we feel trapped by a judgment, just remember there's 50 other ways, or infinite number of ways of judging something.
I like that idea a lot. Find 50 ways of judging something or of valuing something. I mean, I have this value conversation like 3 times per week with
Yeah,
clients, with friends. And it's like I mean, normally I'm the one who says you need an email list, you have to build your audience, and so on and so forth. And they, yeah, but I don't want to bother anyone. And you're not bothering them, you're giving value. You're
yeah,
giving them, you're giving somebody the opportunity to enrich their life. And it's like, I find it really interesting that it is so deeply ingrained in our brains, including my own, this sense of, oh, mustn't be pushy. And on the other hand, there are so many great artists that I don't know about. And then somebody like gives me this piece of inspiration, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had known this earlier. I wish I had known this band earlier, or I had read this book earlier, or whatever it is. And so I think there is actually, it is really hard to be too pushy when you have something valuable.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I somehow managed to get the conversation to, you must have an email list. Very
You always
proud of
manage to
myself.
do that somehow, but always don't forget to subscribe to Shallalla's email list.
Yeah, yes, actually. Which you can't right now because I'm reconstructing everything. But as I said, there is the link to the free instant inspiration call.
Do that instead then.
Thank you, Joe. Week 9 is discovering a sense of resiliency. The first chapter in it is worry. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see whether we can, how fast we can do that. Maybe we'll even do it like within a week. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
But as always, even if it takes a lot longer than the 12 weeks that the course is originally intended, it doesn't really matter because you just have to keep going.
100%.
All
It's
right.
about the resilience.
It's about the resilience, and love it. See you all very soon.